While we were working on this Jeep a while ago, we had a bunch of transmission fluid on the ground there, and so what we ended up doing was removing the transfer case, because it looked like it was leaking from the transfer case, and it could very well have been leaking from the outboard seal on the transmission as well. So we've got our transfer case here out on the bench, and I think what was going on there was we had a couple of leaks going on. I think we were leaking from here. Of course, I've cleaned it all up and everything to tear it apart and do some work here, and could have been leaking from this seal and or the seal from the transmission, where this bolts into the transmission. It was leaking quite a bit. Got a good puddle on the floor there, so we're going to take this out, and now that we got it out, we're going to open it up and take a look inside. What I could do is just leave it and replace all these seals. I would replace this seal, and this seal right here, and then I could replace that transmission seal, a total of 4 seals, and throw it back in. But since we went through all the trouble of taking it out of the vehicle, might as well open it up, take a look inside, and that gives us an opportunity to take a look at this one. So this one here is a 241D. This came out of like a 2003 Dodge 1500. I got this years ago because it was removed because it was damaged. The case was all cracked and stuff like that. And then someone tried to repair it with, do some aluminum welding to try and repair this, and then burn through and everything like that. So this ended up just being a core transmission. So I picked that up. It's been laying around for a while. Now's the time to tear it apart, take a look inside, see what we can do with it. Wider chain and a 6-pinion planetary are basically the upgrades. Maybe, I don't know, we'll find out, that we can do. Take the parts out of this one, put them in the other one. It's just going to make it stronger, more distribution of load and torque and everything like that. So we'll crack this open and see what's inside. So we got this thing tore apart here. No finesse, it's busted, so we're not really being gentle with it or anything like that, but it comes apart pretty easy. We just kind of take off the tailstock here, take off some of this accessory stuff. I probably didn't need to do that right off the bat, but we do have in here this ring, and that ring goes right there, and you need to get that off in order to slide off this half. So basically they're all 10 mil bolts all the way around, except for one, which I think was a 13. I took off the tailstock. You could probably take all those off, get this ring off of there, and then you're gonna pull that case off. You got 2 locating pins here, one here and one here. We get that off, take a look inside here. There's the magnet, and that is up in here. It's doing its job. It's got a bunch of sludge and stuff on it. It actually looks pretty clean inside. It don't look too bad at all. We've got some broken plastic pieces, which I think is from the shift fork here. And then when we look inside, so we've got our filter and we've got our junk and crap in there. For the most part, it looks pretty good. So I removed those gears in the chain, and again, there's going to be another 2 more of those snap rings, one here and one here, and I have that laid out right here. So these are 2 snap rings. They go in front of the gears. You take those out, you slide the gears and the chain off all together. This is the same orientation as we have there. This chain looks like it's 1.25 inches wide. I think that the chain in this one is 1.25 inches wide, so that, if that's true, that dispels this whole upgrade theory of getting a wider chain. They got the same width chain there. The only thing left now is once we get in there, we get back in there and we get that planetary out and see if it's got the 6-pinion. And if it does, the next problem is will it fit on our input shaft from our Jeep transfer case. And I just take a look inside here. This is our shift fork, and it's riding in here. And then as you adjust this, so I was looking in here, so you've got this one here moves on the splines. You're going to have those gears with the chain, and basically when this slides onto here, this is driving this gear or this shaft, and that gear is chained to this one. So that's where you're going to get your 4x4, right? So this is, you're pulling that shift fork over on top of here to drive that. And when you push it back, when it's pushed back, so this is free spinning, but you're still driving this one here, and that one is turning the whole shaft right there. So this is going to be like your two-wheel. And then I'd have to get in here and look at it a little more, but those are the nuts and bolts of it. There's a few more selectors in here, and that would probably be internally back there for the planetary or your low. When you've shifted your fork here to engage this to get your front and back, then the other magic I think is in the back, and that's going to change, get down to your low ratio where you can have in either 4 high, 4 low, or 2 high. Anyway, we're going to keep tearing this apart. We're going to get that planetary. That's really all we're after here. I just want to save the gears, the chain for a future upgrade. If it doesn't work in this one, maybe it'll work in the 231 Dodge truck or another Jeep that has a 231 in it. And the planetary gears. The rest of it is really of no use to me because I don't know if any other parts are interchangeable or useful. So we had a little bit of excitement trying to tear this thing apart here. When we're trying to take this shaft out on this side, I thought that I could just flip it over and then use a rubber mallet and pound the shaft through. After removing, there's a ring in here. There's this one, and then there's another one that goes here. So here's that ring, and that's holding that bearing. So I had removed this ring. The plan was to hit this end with the rubber mallet and get it out of the casing. And it would not come because this dust shield was it's fastened hard around that shaft. Now I thought that I could pound it through and it would come loose and come off. I just used a chisel and basically broke that open so I could get this off, and then after that, then it came out just like nothing. I wouldn't be doing this if I was keeping this transfer case. I'd take a little more care, but again, this is just a core case that we're tearing down for parts here. A little bit of a learning exercise on how it comes apart too. So that was this shaft. Now this one over here, once we got into this other fork, this is where we see all the damage. So this is chewed up really good, and you know, some broken pieces of aluminum. That was where all those plastic chunks like this are coming off of here. This is totally shot. So then we want to get our shafts out. We're going to get after that planetary. So here's our shaft here. This just pulls right out, no problem. That pulls out. This pulls out over top. This pulls out over top. So all that stuff is good. What you're left with here is your planetary gear, which I was disappointed to find out we've only got 4 instead of 6. So you'll have your planetary that's inside there. And then you've got this piece in here, and you could see where the wear was in this, where this was contacting that. You can see where that's all chewed up, some metal missing. This actually though, the teeth on this look good, and everything inside here, the engagement part all looks good inside. It's just this face that's chewed up a little bit. So this should come out of here. It did not want to come out very good because it was kind of chewed up and catching and whatever. Then we have our planetary, which is inside the case here. Now this is a little different. I haven't seen this before, but basically you cannot get that. You got to get it tore down to this point before you can get that pinch ring out of there. On this, let's take a look at this other case. So in this case here, you would remove this, and then there's a pinch ring similar to that where you would this is the access, so you could get in there and you can remove that. They also have it on a transmission, but when we come back here, there's no window, there's no way of getting at that. Anyway, I found that a little bit interesting. So this on the other end, this is sticking out the end. And what we had to do was we had to pry out the seal, and in behind the seal was this ring, which is going around there and holding it all in there against that bearing there, right here. And that was not fun to get out because it's down in here and you're trying to get that thing out of there, and it's just not nice. I don't know why instead of using something like this they don't use just a heavier snap ring, so you can use some normal snap ring pliers. But at any rate, I had to basically pry this out of there to get it out. Again, I would take more care if I was saving this thing. That's how I got that out of there. So then this, once you get the seal out, once you get that ring out, now this will come off. It just slides that way through this bearing bore here, and this all comes out in one piece. Now, this in here is loose. If you wanted to remove this out of here, there's another ring here to remove, and then you can pull that out. I don't necessarily need to do that right now. So basically, here's all the components here of the guts of that thing. Now, again, I was disappointed to find out we don't got 6 pinions. We only got 4, but likely this one might only have 3. So one more is even a little better. But I'd like to see. I was under the impression there's going to be 6 in there. The next thing would be is if this shaft is the same as this one. So it's got to have the same splines on the inside. It's got to have the same diameter. We want, and also too, we want to make sure that it comes out. So those are the next things to see whether or not we could actually use that on here. That's pretty much it. The only things that I was concerned with were right here: 6 pinions, wider chain, and gears.